Hey guys, you've joined us live on Money Control. I'm Manisha Gupta, and joining us to talk on commodities, especially the crude oil prices today, is Peter McGuire from XM Australia. Peter, hi, thank you so much for joining us. And what a week yet again for crude prices, where we've seen 91 and 95 come back. And this quarter is going to be the best quarterly gain for the crude oil prices, up by 25%. Best quarter actually since the early 2022. What's your sense on whether these prices are sustainable?
Well, I think, Manisha, it's just been incredible as far as what we've experienced this quarter, as you've said, and we're certainly knocking on the door of high 90s. We're already at that midpoint there at 95, so there's every chance I think you could be, within the next week or two, knocking on 100's door, and there just seems to be huge momentum to the upside. I'm conscious as far as global demand. I hear what the storyline is as far as a pullback as economic growth and so on, but the overall picture I think is going to be stronger crude prices and a massively strong US dollar.
Let's look at the impact of it all as well, Peter, because we are looking at higher crude oil prices. Do you see demand concern at all? Because the expectations are that we're looking at fuel prices increasing. The jet fuel prices also will start having an impact. Do you see any impact on demand at all, or do you think it's going to be all absorbed?
Well, I think it'll be absorbed to a certain point, Manisha, and also the other side, of course, is the runaway inflation story. And as you said, you've got everything ratcheting up as far as transportation and air fuel, and that's going to impact inflation globally. So that's not a good sign. The second one is, I think that with that pullback as far as production, it's a real knife edge in the sense of the equilibrium between demand and supply, and that's the Saudis and Russia's case. So if you have any wild cards that impact the market, weather outages, geopolitical, or anything like that, that could really spike the market to the upside.
So when we are looking at markets on the higher side, to begin with, what kind of a fourth quarter deficit are you working with, and what is your sense on how high can we go from here?
Well, the first part, I'll answer the second one first, and I think you probably in the fourth quarter, I won't be surprised to take out. Many analysts are saying it now, the 105 to 110 is very achievable. To go out on a limb and say it's going to be higher, it's too difficult. We're 3 months from Christmas, and a lot can happen in 13 weeks. The second part is, as far as when we're looking at, from a demand picture and whether there's going to be a shortfall, I look at the numbers. I'm conscious as far as the energy agencies and what they, and there seems to be a differing viewpoint, as far as from OPEC's position to different agencies across the planet. So I just sit here and as a trader, Manisha, we're looking at the price. We're conscious as far as dollar, and we think that it will trend higher from here.
Okay. I mean, if you look at the JP Morgan report and the Goldman Sachs of the world, 100 is given according to them sooner than later. Are you looking at those highs? And even if we get there, is it going to stay there?
Well, I think it will. It's pretty hard to go out. I think another part of it is, do we see those cuts be extended by Russia and Saudi? Could that be a case running that into the first quarter of 24? So we're 3 months out from that final, line in the sand. And yes, I do think that they will trend higher from here. And that just seems to be an upward trend. Everyone's bullish, hedge funds, retail traders, and the likes of the big banks. So, don't get in the way of a bull market, Manisha.
And, Peter, we usually do see that before the winter demand actually begins, the prices have taken in that sentiment already. When do you see that happen? What is the kind of winter demand that you're anticipating? Because we do understand that last winter, we were all jittery on whether Europe has enough stocks or not, the Russian impact as well. Would you say that those fears as of now have settled? So what would you want to watch out for this winter?
Well, I think, again, geopolitical, weather outages, and if there are any unexpected events that can impact these markets. We know how fragile it is as far as that knife edge between supply and demand, and that's what every trader looks at. They look at the seasonality demand, they look at what can impact the markets. And we've had no impact this year from a hurricane perspective, but we've still got a long way to run till that season's well and truly over. And, from a geopolitical standpoint, what seems to be going on with the Russia-Ukraine situation, it's just so protracted. So, we sit here and just absorb it all and, trade every day, Manisha.
What's your sense also on demand coming in from, the demand growth, especially that we are seeing in India and China? Because while the supplies are a concern, the bigger picture clearly is demand here.
Absolutely. I mean, huge demand drive for India, and that storyline hasn't changed. You've only got to look at construction and the building of a nation. And I've been looking at it for the best part of a decade and a half, and I'll be there next week with you. And it's overwhelming until you actually see the manpower and the woman power and the need for energy, from electricity consumption all the way through to gas and of course energy, diesel and petrol. Then I just think that we're in a very, very commodity-led rally, and the demand picture. And then you look at China. Well, you took the best part of 3 billion people.
My final question then, and while of course for this year we've seen a big range, and markets do seem to be holding above $90 a barrel. I mean, what is the vision? What is the horizon that you're looking at in sense of crude prices from here, and how would you look at that range for me?
Well, it's got to be probably 85 as a bottom line, because it seems to have broken that with a lot of conviction. And now you're looking at an upside. Is it 105? Is it 110? And, I see analysts, some are saying 120. So let's hope it doesn't get there from an inflation side, because that's really going to ratchet up rates and central bank policy. And that's something that the world's not wanting, considering the slowdown, what we're experiencing with high inflation. So, we've just got to sit here and work through in the lead up to Christmas. But I think it's going to be higher than here, what we are at the moment, Manisha.
All right, so 85, your best case on the lower side, but 100, 110, 120. I mean, yes, Peter, we are concerned about those levels, but who knows, the momentum is still on the higher side. But thank you as always for joining us and making sense of all the data and events and, of course, numbers as well. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Manisha.